Everything's stupid. Fix your hearts or die. Welcome to Happy Suffer.
Mm.
There you go.
I hate it here.
I refuse to fucking look up if there was a tagline for this piece of shit movie. So, R.I.P. David Lynch. Everything bad happening now.
I mean, actually, his death has it was bad before, but his death has started the
I
apocalypse.
feel like he really,
literally.
really just like accelerated
Yeah.
all the bad shit.
He was like, "Well, I'm out." And then he did that gif where he like held up a peace sign and just like disappeared, you know? He was holding the gates closed,
I just
and now
picture-
they were open.
I picture it more like the Poochie episode of The Simpsons where Poochie goes back to his home planet where it just like freezes and you just see like David Lynch go out of frame.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is the number episode of Happy Suffer that I did not look up.
4.
Yeah,
It
episode
is-
4. We're back.
It is a
I
random
think
generated number of 3 digits.
I literally think it's 334. Honestly, maybe something like that.
I think it is because I remember when we were I normally write down the number at the top, like when we're recording for, I don't know, any reason. But I specifically remember thinking it was interesting for Mummy Theme Park that it was the 500th movie, but also episode 333. I was like, that means something. I don't know what, because I'm not good at math, but it means something.
Katie's gonna get
So I
into
think you're right.
numerology.
Yeah.
Seven, or
Kay's lost
20,
it.
23, 7, you know? There you go.
We watched a Bret Michaels directed, written,
A-
and starring feature film called A
A
Letter
Bret
from
Michaels
Death Row.
joint.
Did we watch it or did we experience it?
I also
We-
got bad news that he directed another movie starring Charlie and Martin Sheen.
I thought you were going to say he died.
No, I mean, you know,
I really did.
he let us see his fucking bald head for once instead of his fucking wig. So,
Yeah. It was
I-
clearly not a bald cap, also.
oh no, that was his head.
Also, like, whenever he first gets his head shaved, and then they like show him, the angle that they chose was so weird. He looks like an alien.
Phallic.
Well, there's like a big thing
There's-
on like Rock of Love where like he like no matter what is happening, he's never not wearing at least a bandana.
Always
or
wearing a
hat.
bandana.
Like
Right.
they'll be like in bed making out and he'll have his fucking cowboy hat on and shit. And I'm just like, come on, dude. We all know
I
you're
have to
bald.
be-
Just be bald.
I have to be so honest with you. When he's not wearing the bandana, I don't recognize him. Like, I don't know who he is. Throughout half of this movie, I was like, wait, like, okay, especially in the beginning when he has like the quote unquote like like the hair or whatever. I was like, I thought Bret Michaels was in it. I have to be really honest. I obviously know who he is by reputation, and people used to know him. Do they even know he was the lead singer, obviously, of Poison, which is a band, which I don't even know if like that's what he's famous for anymore. And so I only know him by reputation. And then he was on an episode of Guy's Grocery Games where he was a judge for Hunter's birthday episode. And he flew in, he judged like 2 rounds of it, and then was just like, I'm sorry, y'all, he had to like go to a performance, and he like left mid-show, which I was like, this is drama here. And he like gave Hunter, who, anyone that's not familiar, that's Guy's son, gave Hunter like what's it called, a gold record from his studio that he just like took off the wall on his way there and was like, here you go. And Hunter, of course, is like, cool. And Guy's like, brother, you're the best. And like, so they seem to be really good friends. I don't know what's going on there, but
Nothing good.
him, Guy, and like the Trumps are
yeah,
good
that's
friends.
not great.
Like
I don't like that.
Unsurprising.
the what was supposed to be the 4th season of Rock of Love was ended up being, he just was like, I don't really want to do this, so could I just do like essentially what ended up being like a true life or whatever episode of like, or season of like Bret Michaels just following him around with his like wife, who he was married to the entire time they were doing Rock of Love, which
What?
was interesting. But like, there's an episode that's just like him hanging out with Don Jr., and I was like, what the fuck? This sucks. I mean,
That makes
not
me
that
really
I ever
sad.
expected Bret Michaels to be at all a good person, but
I mean, I feel
think
like
I think he was on like Celebrity Apprentice or some shit one season, and just like
that makes
became
sense.
friends with them, and so I just assume he's just a piece of shit all around.
I feel like you can tell by looking at him that the thought of him being friends with the Trumps does not surprise me. I
No.
am. I hesitate to say that I'm surprised when it's somebody who's a celebrity that's like extremely like successful and rich. I feel sad about Guy because I did not like him for a really, really long time because I find him obnoxious, and that's like kind of part of his thing, right? Where he's just like yelling all the time, and he's like, my half of my beard is bleached and half of it isn't for some reason. But like then
It's
I
called
started.
fashion.
Right. It's called 2001 Called, and it's over. And then I started finding out about all of his like charity work that he does and like et cetera, all that stuff. And I was like, okay. So I kind of like softened on him a little bit. And I was like, well, if he's like, he can be annoying if he wants, if it's like getting the revenue to like do all this good stuff. But now I feel like maybe my first impression was correct.
I think Guy Fieri's just like a dipshit centerist. Like,
Yeah.
he does like
He
a
doesn't
lot
wanna
of good
rock the
stuff, but he's
boat.
also
Yeah.
like endlessly
Why
in
can't we all get
fucking
along?
UFC fights and fucking hanging out with Trump at UFC fights and shit.
Yeah, I don't like that. And like, he is also, I don't know, whatever. But this is not about Guy Fieri.
Yeah, we'll do Guy Fieri horror
Could
movie
be.
next week.
Okay, good. Written and produced by.
This is sort of a Patreon pick. This was Caitlin's pick, and I'd messaged them, and I was like, I need you to pick this Bret Michaels movie so Kit and I have an excuse to talk about Rock of Love. And they were like, all right, sounds good. And then they
Great.
did watch it, because this movie,
Oh my
terrible.
God.
Real fucking bad.
Ugh, sucks.
This is
It-
this is
It's
yeah.
one of the
It-
most baffling shot movies I've ever seen.
I'll tell you what, though. Bret Michaels' killer voice is worth the price of admission.
You know, he was like editing this and watching it. He was like, I'm going to win a fucking Oscar.
Yeah.
I am
This is
killing it.
there's like this movie is so long for what happens also, but it's shot like this movie, you're watching it, it looks like an hour and 34 minutes of a music video.
It looks
Which-
like if like Batman, the 66 Batman TV series was like all shot in shadows. Everything's in like a fucking Dutch angle. Like, it's all close-ups of fucking mouths talking. Nobody is ever seen talking like together in the same scene. It does that shit where it just like cuts back and forth between the people talking. So like no one's ever acting against each other. They're just saying dialogue.
Okay, yeah. Saying dialogue is a really good you know how when people are doing interviews and they're being asked a question, but the person who's asking them, like let's say it's the producer, is not part of the, so they're like leading the people to say what their answer is, but they're like, what I want you to do is I'm going to ask you a question and then you respond with the question in it. So if I'm like, what kind of chips are you eating? Instead of just being like salt and vinegar, you would say, the chips that I'm eating are salt and vinegar. Stuff like that. It feels very much like that. Like
Trying to
people-
pad out an essay.
Yeah, and because people are also like saying things that are not like, I mean, we complained about this a lot though. It's like they're saying things in response to each other that actually is not having a conversation. It's just like so disconnected. Like specifically, Bret Michaels does this a lot because he's just like, okay, well, baby, I'm gonna get on out of here. Okay, baby, I'm gonna go. I'm getting lost. I'm gonna take that tape now, baby. Okay, baby, now. And I'm like, bro, she's dead. First of all, second of all, no, like, and Jessica, the governor's assistant or whatever, she does that a lot too, where she's like talking about like writing her book or whatever the fuck, and she's just like, I'm sorry to be asking you these questions. I'll ask you these questions next time for the book. When I come here next time, you can tell me answers because I'm writing a book. And I'm like, girl, are these just like different takes that somehow made it all into the movie? Like that's kind of what it feels like.
It's like the way like Death Toilet does that, but like in a fun way. This is the
This isn't,
opposite.
yeah, this is not fun at all. Before we start, two things. Patreon shout out.
Oh yeah, Sheraton joined our Patreon. So hi
Boop, boop,
Sheraton.
boop. Hello. Great time to join.
Oh, yeah,
I
and
met.
like
Oh,
literally it was something I forget like what it was, but like she joined and like immediately posted something about like the Batman Cape Crusader
Caped
series,
Crusader,
and I was like,
yeah.
well, guess what? We
Yeah.
covered that.
Hello. I'm still obsessed. I meant to say something about this because this happened kind of a while ago, but it just slipped my mind because it didn't relate to like me personally as like a Patreon thing. If you're somebody who wants to join Patreon for specifically a podcast or other things that are like played through either like Spotify, Apple Music, etc., they updated Patreon to basically make them like comply with the Apple store. And so they started doing this thing where if you sign up like through the app, Apple is going to take 30% or something insane like that
Ugh.
as like an in-between transaction payment from the people that you are subscribing to. So if you go through the app and say and like subscribe to our Patreon through the app, they're going to take a 30% cut. Because why? They like forced Patreon into being like, hey, if you don't do this, then we're not going to support your
They're
app.
gonna have
And
you on
like
the App Store.
Yeah, it's
essentially no
because
one's going to be
every
able to
corporation is
pay
the
it. Yeah.
fucking worst, and just like
But
will nickel and dime everybody so they can make just slightly more money.
right. So I meant to say, like I said, I meant to say this like way earlier, but
Like
if
a month ago when we recorded last.
yeah, well, I meant to say it like when it came into effect, which was last November, but like I said, for my Patreon, since it's like browser based anyway, it's like pictures or whatever, it doesn't affect anybody who's like subscribing to like me specifically or if it's like that kind of media. But the way that you can get around it is that you can just go onto Patreon in a web browser and select to like subscribe to people that way. So do it in a web browser, do not do it through the app. And then you can like circumvent that 30% that Apple's taking for what? Why do you need to even do that? But anyways,
Just send each of us $30
you can
a
just
week.
yeah. You can just put a $30 bill in an envelope and mail it to us each week.
I'm just gonna start putting our Venmos in the show notes.
Yeah. Second thing is that I have a soda talk that I'm so excited about because I've been trying to get my hands on this for months. And it is the Blackberry Dr. Pepper.
Oh yeah, I think I forgot that even existed.
I did too because I had been looking for it so long that I literally was like, maybe it's not real. And then for some reason I thought that it was going to be blackberries and cream, like the soda, cream soda version, but it's not just blackberry Dr. Pepper, but I don't care. I'm really excited because I love blackberry. So we'll see. Even though I said I was okay, I can't even open it. Wow.
Yeah, way to go.
They're gatekeeping it from me. Okay.
The power of BlackBerry.
I did say that I wasn't going to try any more sodas, but I don't often keep my word when it comes to that. So
Katie,
okay.
known liar.
Yes, actually I am. It smells like root beer. Let's see. Mm. Hmm. It's weird.
Sounds good.
So it's not bad. It's weird because it's like one of those flavors where instead of like tasting it all together, it's like you immediately taste Dr. Pepper and then you taste blackberry syrup. So it's like Dr. Pepper, but I mean Dr. Pepper is kind of sweet. Dr. Pepper and then sweet. Mm,
Sounds like you love it.
I don't think I do. I also don't like necessarily know that I could specifically taste it and be like, yes, this is blackberry. It just kind of tastes like a generic berry, dark berry. Could be
Does it
grape
taste like
even.
onions?
Yeah.
Hmm.
It.
Probably not for me then.
Yeah.
Onion water.
Yeah. Dr. Pepper onion. Eh.
Sounds. I mean, I'd try it. I'm sure it'd be fucking undrinkable, but
I feel like at this point I want to have something. I would try a savory drink.
there's a
Like,
bunch of them. You just got to be able to track them
well,
down.
I meant like
Like steak Dr. Pepper?
I was gonna say not like turkey Thanksgiving dinner Jones or whatever, but I meant like if they did a Dr. Pepper, but they did something savory. Like if they did, okay.
There's a bacon
A
one.
meat.
I mean, not Dr. Pepper, but I can send you some bacon soda.
That sounds really bad. Steak and Dr. Pepper steak and fries, steak and frites. No, like I feel like if they did like Dr. Pepper, but then they did some like warm spices like sage or something, I kind of feel like that would be good.
I'm gonna look
Maybe
up.
it's already one of the 23 flavors.
Let's see. I looked up savory soda. What we got here?
Okay,
Buffalo wing soda.
I would try that.
Sounds horrendous. Bacon
I mean,
and gravy. The fuck?
Perfect combo.
Gravy is exactly what's missing from the bacon soda that you mentioned.
Wait, is this real? I'm seeing a garlic Coca-Cola.
Oh God.
I can't tell if this is real or like a Photoshop thing. I'm trying to see if it's like maybe like a different country.
Oh yeah, I get almost bamboozled by those all the time.
Yeah, this I can't tell. It's not like the Reddit post of it is not specific. So, all right, let's talk about this fucking piece of shit movie.
I don't wanna.
What a fucking way to come back.
Yeah, I will also say putting Martin Sheen at the top. He's in it for like 1 minute, but
Yeah.
he
Doing an
actually
insane accent.
he also takes so long to show up that I totally forgot that he was in the movie. And then he showed up and I was like, is that Martin Sheen? And I was like, oh yeah, he's supposed to be here.
So I had listened to an episode of No Such Thing as a Bad Movie podcast where they talked about this movie, and I was like, I have to watch this. This sounds insane. And it was like not insane in a good way. And it's like one of the few movies that I feel like they've covered that Justin DeClue straight up just gave half a star to on Letterboxd. So I was like, all right, I knew this movie's gonna be fucking terrible. We need to cover it.
Why is
it's fucking bad. It's boring. It's shot insanely. Like, there's so many things in it that happen that Bret Michaels is like, this is gonna be like a Sixth Sense level, like
this
fucking
is gonna
twist. And it's just
I love
so
that
dumb.
Wikipedia describes this movie as a psychological thriller.
I mean, and as much as
I was thrilled.
made me feel like I was going insane, kind of.
I was gonna say it is psychological. I don't know if I would say that's a good thing.
It's somehow like bordered between like so many baffling things happening while also being one of the most boring things I've ever watched.
Yeah. I love that this like overall plot says a convicted killer, Bret Michaels, races to prove conspirators framed him for his girlfriend's murder. I disagree. I don't think he did anything.
There's no racing. There's no racing at all.
Except to say I'm innocent.
Like 80% of this movie is like voiceover.
Yeah.
Or just Bret Michaels talking to himself in a cell. And
So-
like I just like the entire time I was watching it, I was like how did no one at any point be like, hey, I think this movie's gonna be bad?
So my real question here is that like does he yeah, because you're right. So there's like voiceover. But they like show us everything that's happening, but then there's also voiceover as if he's like relaying it to us, because the plot of it actually sort of is that he is writing a book about what happened, supposedly. But they keep doing this thing throughout the movie where, like, you're saying they show a close-up of Bret Michaels' mouth, and sometimes he's saying things himself, but a majority of the times he's just lip syncing things that other people are saying.
I noticed that a couple times when he was talking to, like, Jessica, and I was like, what the fuck is happening?
What the hell's happening here?
I don't know, because, like, the things that he's mouthing other people saying are not, like, important to the plot at all. So it's not. That's why I'm telling you, this is like a 1.5 hour long music video.
Well, it's one of those things where, like, I get the idea that, like, he's writing a script or whatever. It's not a book. His, like, what
he calls it a book, but it's a script.
But all the shit he's reading, he's clearly just reading the script for the movie. Like,
yes.
But, like, it makes no sense the way it's edited together.
No.
Like, it just seems like somebody accidentally edited in, like, wrong footage anytime it happened. It's so weird.
Yeah.
And, like, again, you know, he was like, I'm gonna this shit is going to make me like the new Tom Cruise. Like, he was clearly like, all right, you know, Poison's like not so much a big draw in like 1998. So, like, I'm gonna pivot to, like, I'm gonna become an actor and a director, and I'm gonna clearly I'm talented. This is gonna take off. And he did like this and whatever the other fucking weird movie where Martin and Charlie Sheen play cops in the same year that I'm assuming is also fucking terrible.
Yeah. Call me crazy, but I think I might have figured out why the mouth lip syncing thing is happening. We'll loop around to it. Okay. So this movie starts with somebody saying, "Priest is here to give you your last rites. I'm sorry." But it's like the camera's really shaky because it's like, I guess, from the POV of Bret Michaels, but it's like really shaky.
I think it's because Bret Michaels held the camera all the time.
Definitely.
And, like, just couldn't keep it together. Like, the opening scene of this, I was like, this is going to give me such a fucking headache.
Yeah. It's not as bad as this opening part the entire time. However, in the very beginning, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do this because it's like extremely shaky. It's like in the face of this cop saying that a priest is here to give somebody their last rites. Then it transitions into being like black and white, but it's also like flashing. And I was like, and then Bret Michaels says to us, a good writer can make the mind imagine. A great writer can make the mind believe. This is what I wrote. This is like some Zach Baggins energy here in the beginning of this.
What a king.
That shit hits if you're dumb as fuck.
Yes. And
hold on. Kit, you've watched Rock of Love more than I have, probably. Do they ever mention this movie at all, or the fact that you made a movie? Like,
not once.
This feels like the kind of thing that, like, should have been a challenge where he just made the women watch this movie with him.
Yeah. And see if they can still stand him. Yeah.
Man, didn't that line hit so hard?
They're
all fucking crying.
This is what they talk about when they're talking about elevated horror.
Yep.
This being so bad is why he had to make Rock of Love. Try and get some money.
I was trying to figure out.
Recoup losses.
In my mind, I felt like Rock of Love happened, like, pretty soon after this, but it was like a decade later.
Yeah. So now it's like the credits, and I literally wrote how to explain this because it's like thermal footage kind of somebody being electrocuted, but also it's like glitching. Like, I don't know how to explain it other than that. And then there's like credits going on.
Just say it looks cool as fuck. It's like Bret Michaels, like, discovered fucking, like, Snapchat filters in 1998 somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, because I like, the closest thing I could relate it to is thermal imaging, but it's like copper colored, and you can still like see the person's details, but then it's like glitching, like, yeah, you know, like glitching. So then there's a voiceover of Bret Michaels, of course. I also love how like his name is Michael in this movie.
Well, yeah, because
Just
he would fucking forget who was talking to him if he didn't have Brett or
he
Michaels in his name.
yeah, he should have just been Bret. Uh, a voiceover of him telling us that he's looking over this book that he's written, and now he's going to like there's literal points in the movie where they show him and you know that he's reading because his finger is underneath the line and he's like scanning the pages to keep his place. And like Nathan said, it is actually the script of the movie, but he is trying to tell us that this is a book he's written about what happened to him. So all of this happened in Nashville, Tennessee in 1991. We're back in Nashville. And it took place in the fall. And we're at a church. And I was like, okay. And then it says, Chapter 1, The Mistress and the Priest.
There are so many chapters.
And half the time,
so many chapters.
It'll pop up like in the middle of a scene.
Yeah. Yep. I almost missed them a few times, and I was like, wait, what happened to chapter? But I got them. Don't worry. We'll know what's going on.
Oh my! Not to fucking interrupt this. How many fucking people are gonna be in this new Scream movie?
Probably
48.
Yeah.
I've just saw that now Ethan Embry is in it.
Great.
Like what the fuck is happening?
Why not? I think everyone that's ever been in any Scream movie ever should be in this new movie.
It's like when they did that Mortal Kombat game that had every guy that was ever in Mortal Kombat.
It's just gonna be the Expendables, but just Scream actors.
Yeah, bring back Drew, bring back everybody, anyone who's ever died. Let's do it.
Was Ethan Embry
Kennedy even alive?
Who? What?
Jamie Kennedy? Is he even alive?
Yeah, he's busy
in
making
real life?
documentaries about hecklers at comic shows and shit.
Is he really?
He made a documentary called Heckler that Shane was telling me about. He watched one night, and it starts out being about sort of like the idea of hecklers. It just turns into Jamie Kennedy going and like confronting hecklers from his shows, and they're just like, "Bro, you suck. That's why I heckled you."
Yeah,
like to his face.
It's like a movie that can only be made by someone who sucks at fucking comedy. Incredible.
It's on my it's in my watch list because I've been trying to watch like all of the stuff Tom Green appears in on like Letterboxd, and he's in that, I guess, and I'm like, fuck.
Rough.
So now I'm gonna have to watch that at some point. I think there's a point where like Carrot Top's just like, yeah, dude, just fucking who cares? Don't pay attention to him. And James Kennedy's like, I can't. Carrot Top in Scream 7.
Yeah, get him in there.
have him be Jamie Kennedy.
Yeah, there you go.
He's Randy now.
I want him to be everybody.
This
like
Fire Nav, but
yeah,
just let Carrot Top play Sydney.
Yep, I want it.
Yeah.
I also want he needs to be. I want them to. No, okay, this is what I want. I want them to remake the original Scream, but everyone's Carrot Top. Even in the scene where like Sydney and her and the, like I just want it all. He has to be everybody, just superimposed.
This is my idea. They remake Scream 100% faithfully, except Carrot Top is like in the Ghostface costume, so it's like big ass hair is under that fucking thing, and everyone's like, I can't figure out who this is, and he's just like carrying fucking props with him the whole time.
Yeah, he's like dropping them out of his cloak.
Yeah.
Whose Lou Diamond Phillips skull is this?
I'd watch that.
I would too. I think we just need to.
And then remake Chairman of the Board with Nev Campbell as Carrot Top.
As the chairman, of course. Yeah.
Anyway, Bret Michaels is executed.
Chapter 1, The Mistress and the Priest. So this
it's like a tarot card.
Yes. Oh, you're onto something. This guy who we
this was actually really deep.
It is actually. This guy who we end up finding out is the governor. I'm not really sure why they picked the governor, but he's the governor. He is at church and he is confessing to the father that aforementioned mistress, he's in love with her and he wants to leave his family for her. And he's like, I just like this is gonna happen. And the father's like, hey, maybe you should rethink that because you have a child with your wife, so like you probably shouldn't do that. And then the governor is straight like, I'm a very powerful man, shut the fuck up. And then it just like cuts to the father, who we find out's name is Lucifer T. Towers. Father
So
Lucifer.
funny.
Amazing. Being
Like, damn, I
charged.
wonder if he's a bad guy.
Well, his name is
Lucifer
Lucifer.
von Satan bad.
And like it immediately just like cuts to him, the Father Lucifer, being charged with murder and sentenced to death. We don't know why until almost the end of the movie. At this point, I was so confused because I was like, isn't Bret Michaels on death row? What is going on with this Father Lucifer, who surely could not have done anything wrong? Then it says 1 year later, Bret Michaels introduced us to this girl named Christy / Angel. She's an exotic dancer. He is in love with her. There's like squiggly vision and heavy breathing on the sidewalk, which I still am like not really sure what that was supposed to be about. But he's basically just like talking about how he's in love with her. She goes into work and exotic dances for like 10 minutes. There's like a fight that
Watching fucking
ensues.
Veronica all over again.
It's like crazy because like she's dancing on the stage, but they're like overlaying like neon lights flashing in front of her and around her. And I was like, what is happening
I'm
here?
starting to think that like musicians should not make movies.
I'm starting to agree with you. I've always been for them before, but not now.
Like, I'm sure there is something I'm not thinking of that was good, but like I'm just thinking of Danzig's movies,
Could you be?
fucking
Could you be?
Fred Durst movies, this, or maybe just bad musicians should stop making movies.
Fair.
Yeah.
I was gonna say their thought is that like I have played music, I've been in a music video, so naturally I would be a very good director.
Fred Durst is like not like terrible as a director. It's just that fucking Fanatic movie just unwatchable because of fucking John Travolta and Devon Sawa in it.
Wow. Okay, squiggly vision. She's dancing for 10 minutes. There's a fight. She does her dance and it's just like, I'm leaving. It's Halloween. I have better things to do than work here. And I was like, all right. I don't know why. It's very weird. So, as she's like leaving, Bret Michaels like airs all her dirty laundry to us, which is that she had like an abusive father and she's got a hard exterior, but she's got lost innocence and a heart of gold and this, that, and the other, while like pan flutes play in the background. I was like, okay.
I love
Weird
that Bret
choice.
Michaels did the music for this movie.
Yeah,
Meaning he
it's-
played a pan flute for it.
It's
Yes.
so good.
It's good. It's good. So she gets home. She calls and is like talking to whoever on the phone, and is like, "When are you coming home at midnight? Okay, great. See you then." And then she says to her cat, "I'm gonna take pictures of you," but she has like a whole recorder.
Okay,
the
this
cat's
is
like-
like 1998, so it wasn't like cell phones.
Yeah, it wasn't like she was taking a photo. She was gonna like record the cat for some reason, and the cat, in cat fashion, is like, "I'm peace out then. You won't perceive me. Goodbye." Leaves. We can also see that somebody is spying on her through, the glass window or whatever. And he like knocks on the door, like knocks on the window to like scare her, and she goes, "Trick or treat?" And I was like, "Girl, no." Her property backs like the woods, and somebody is knocking like on her back deck window, and she's like, "Trick or treat?" I'm like, absolutely not. So she goes to like open the door for whatever reason, and a man in a werewolf mask busts in, knocks her on the ground. She's like slapping him in the face, and he's like struggling with her. He's like, "You shouldn't have kicked me out of the club. I hate I hate you, bitch." And he's like trying to suffocate her with the pillow. But then when he moves the pillow, her eyes open and it says chapter 2, the fantasy. I was like,
Do you think this is where the Duplass Bros got the idea for Creep?
Yes.
yeah.
Wolf Mask,
I assume
straight from Bret Michaels.
this is
Yeah.
the movie that pivoted most of horror for like
Yeah,
two
I think
decades.
so. Also because he says, okay, shocker, this whole scenario was just pretend. They're like having an affair, and he was like playing a silly game with her, pretending to be a guy that broke into her house to revenge kill her. That's so cute. But he was like, "Did you like that werewolf mask I made?" So I think that really launched the career of a lot of special effects artists, if you're asking me.
Yeah.
I bet there's a direct line between this movie and Terrifier.
Yeah, probably. So yeah, it was pretend. It's actually Bret Michaels, who is her boyfriend, and they just were having a little gags. And oh, but there's also like the video camera was on, and it like recorded him fake killing her, and he's like, "Oh shit," and he like gets up to like turn the tape off or whatever, and then they're like, I guess they have sex, and he's like, she's like, "Oh, my old man." Her old man, aka what he assumes is her husband. This plot point later turns out to be very confusing, because she's like, "Oh, my old man will be here at midnight, so make sure you're gone because like he'll bust you up real good." And he's like, "Okay, well, I just need to make sure that I take that tape because if he sees it, like we're dead or whatever." And he's like, "I'm gonna go wash up." So he goes into the bathroom and is like splashing water on his face and pretending like he's gonna like beat up this imaginary husband, and he's like doing karate in black and white and slow-mo and whatnot. And like while this is happening, somebody sneaks in and actually suffocates and kills his girlfriend. And then we see that person take the tape from the tape recorder and leave, right?
Yeah, talk about bad timing.
Yeah. So then like while this is happening too, first of all, she's dead at this point. And he's just like, "Hey, baby, give me 5 minutes. I'm going to jump in your sauna." Then he takes a shower, and I was like, I don't think he knows what a sauna is.
I bet
that's really weird.
I bet he wrote that line and then realized they didn't have access to a sauna and was like, "I'm not changing it."
But also it's like...
He probably forgot he could change it. Like, he can say the words differently.
He
forgot
can
he could
do whatever he wants. The thing that's confusing to me about this situation is, like, he shows up all sweaty and shit. They have sex. He's going to go clean up, and he's, like, smelling himself as if he's ripe or something. He, like, splashes water in his face and, like, cleans up or whatever. Isn't the point of a sauna that you get in and it makes you sweat? So, like, why would he want to get re-sweaty anyways? Doesn't make any sense.
Hey, don't question Bret Michaels.
Do you think he's so rich he just like doesn't know what a shower is?
Yes.
100%.
Okay, that makes sense. So he's give me 5 minutes, baby. I'm just gonna jump in the sauna and get cleaned up, and then I'm gonna get out of here. And this whole time, she's dead on the couch, and he has not stopped talking to her. She's not responding, and he doesn't think anything.
Hasn't found that odd.
No. So, while this is happening, we hear somebody call 911 saying that there's been a moida. So he finally gets out of the sauna. He comes and he's like, "All right, baby, I'm gonna get this tape. I'm gonna get on out of here. Okay, baby. Okay, baby, I'm gonna get on out of here, baby." And he's like shaking her and stuff. Well, she's like dead, right? And at this is why I hesitate to say this is why he's fucking stupid, because he's discovered her dead body, right? He's like shaking her. The cops come in at the same time, like come in the front door at the same time as he's discovered her, and he's like clearly upset over the fact that he's found her dead, and he's like, "Christy, baby, wake up, baby, wake up." And he's like shaking her and shit. And then the cops show up, and he immediately like has a gun and like runs and jumps off the balcony. And I'm like, maybe if he would have just like chilled for a second, like they saw him genuinely reacting to finding her dead. So like maybe just chill next time.
Nah.
But he pulls a gun on the cops also, like I said. Oh, in the middle of this, chapter 3, the chase. So he runs, they're like,
real quick, how many chapters do you expect there to be in a film?
At least 13.
0, if I'm honest. Sometimes, yeah.
Max out at 5, right? Like, all right, 5 acts.
Like,
5 chapters.
Do you think Well, number one, I have no idea if this ever even made it to DVD, but like this is just set up like the chapters of a DVD where like there's fucking 40 of them. And so like it's just like I wonder if there's a DVD of this, if it lines up with
I
the
don't think
chapters
so.
in the movie. So like you click on one
Because
chapter and you just start it in like the middle of a scene.
Yes, because stupidly, I think that the reason that he's calling things chapters is because
It's the book
like
he's writing or whatever.
yeah, but like we don't need it. Also, one called The Chase, which is literally just the cops chasing him. He jumps off a balcony into a pool, and he's telling us about how he was on probation for something that I don't think we find out, like what he's on probation for, and that it's hard to be a songwriter because nobody wants to take you seriously when you're on probation. And he moved to Nashville to be a fresh start, and he's changed his name to Michael Rain.
It's not fucking... So there is a DVD of this, and I've just fallen down the rabbit hole of Amazon reviews for it. And I'm upset. This was a really cool movie. I just recently watched it for the first time, and it kept me on the edge of my seat the whole time. From the very beginning, you never know what's really happening, what's real and what's imagination, fact or fiction.
I mean, that's true. You never know what's really happening.
That is fact.
Love it. Love my Brett. So awesome to have met and spend time alone with him on his tour bus. Such an awesome guy.
Ew.
Love him.
Oh,
I don't like-
wow. What a
don't like
twist. Can we get more fucking groupie reviews?
Oh, man. I desperately wanted it to be like Lacey or fucking somebody from like fucking Rock of Love that wrote that. I really I was trying to see because there's like a couple, like other like non-American region DVDs of it, and I really want to know if there's a commentary track because I would listen to this shit out of Bret Michaels talking about making this movie.
Yeah, I can't even fathom
Like,
what he has to say about it.
He talks about this as if it's like the highest art.
Yeah, I also
He thinks he crushed it with this.
he does. I think that you can tell that he is one of those people that just has like an unyielding confidence in themselves and everything that they do.
100%.
And I also wonder if he has, for lack of a better term, some sort of prison kink. Because once he actually gets in prison, there are so many times when he's being referred to as like a pretty boy or the pretty one or like this, that, and the other. And like other inmates are like threatening to assault him. And it just leaves me pondering,
It like he has looked like shit since the mid 90s. Like in the 80s at the height of Poison, like I get it. I could see why
I'm gonna look. I actually don't even know what he looked like.
People like especially during that like hair metal time where like I understand why like he was considered like super hot. He like in the mid 90s when he just started doing like his bandana fucking biker Ed Hardy shit, he just looks gross.
Well,
And,
the other thing
it
that
hasn't
I don't
changed since. He still dresses like this.
Okay, he's like fine. All right. Bret Michael. Okay, like fine, whatever. I also like don't really understand why like you do see this a lot in these like older like rock guys where they like continue to wear eyeliner for no reason and it just doesn't do anything for you, my guy.
Oh, makes
Like-
him look cool.
No.
I don't
Okay.
know.
It makes them look like they got lines on their
I mean,
eyes.
JD Vance looks pretty cool.
That's true.
It's always
Cool
like
guy.
the crustiest, thickest eyeliner too. Like it's not even anyway. Okay. So we're on chapter 3 if you'll recall, where he's running from the police and he's telling us about how it's just like hard to be a songwriter when you're on probation. And then after all of this, I think they don't show it, but I think he ends up getting shot by the police because he wakes up in the hospital and he's got like gauze around his head, and I'm like, did they shoot him in the head? What happened here?
That
He's fine.
would explain a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. And he asks us, the viewer, if we feel sorry for him and if we like him now. And I said, no.
Yeah,
What's
nope.
what's
Even
what's
less, actually.
what's happened that you think you have like talked me into liking you and feeling sorry for you? Because I don't know if I believe anything that's happening. Anyways, he wakes up in the hospital. His lawyer tells him that there's no way that he can win this murder case because the evidence is against him. They have the tape of him, quote unquote, killing her. And also, they say this in a really gross way, but essentially his DNA is found on her. He's the only one that's been at the scene. Excuse me. And he wants him to basically like take a plea deal and plead guilty. He has a dream about. There's a lot of these like dream sequences throughout the movie, and in this one he has a dream that he's being electrocuted, and Christy shows up wearing the werewolf mask, but he calls her a bitch, and I was like, what? Okay. And then it cuts to like him being found guilty of murder in the first degree and being sentenced to death, and he's like, Judge, please, no, Judge. It's like that scene in Hot Rod where he's like, Judge, please, Judge. Like begging him to like listen to him, which like, I'm so sorry, my guy. The time to give a statement was not after he sentenced you to death and you're being carried away.
Yeah, you had a whole trial, my man.
I also realized that I did actually miss a chapter because I have chapter 3, The Chase, and now we're going to chapter 5, The Big House.
Honestly, there probably wasn't a chapter 4. Bret Michaels probably missed a chapter.
I would believe that over me having missed it, to be honest with you. But now we're on chapter 5, The Big House, which, if you didn't know, is code for prison.
Oh, what?
I've seen every season of Prison Break. I know a lot about prison, okay?
I know my prison slang.
There's a very long intro of people going. It's literally just like the process of going into the prison. And this is where we meet Belford Danker. He says that he burned down his house with his whole family inside. Cool. And then he's like, Michael, what did you do? He's like basically just like, hey, this is why I'm in here. What did you do? And Michael basically just like meets all of the other people that are on death row, and they're all like chummy together. Like, it's great. Somebody calls him the videotape killer. Not great.
Not really. Terrible name.
And
imagine killing a videotape and going to prison.
I know,
right?
Sad.
Well, that's what happens when you don't heed those warnings, where it's like,
be kind and rewind.
Yeah, don't be kind and rewind. And also, you wouldn't steal a car. Why would you steal a movie?
I'd steal a car.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, joke's on you. I think most people would steal a car.
I would absolutely download a car.
Yep. Also, it's like weird to give somebody a title when they've allegedly only killed one person. It's fine though. Nashville was not fucking around. They said, you maybe killed a person, death row for you. So yeah, we meet the other people, which for some reason, like the entire plot of this movie hinges on Father Lucifer, who is not even
it's funny every time.
It's not even present in this situation because he's in solitary confinement for being mean to the guards and whatnot, which I think is fair. But they basically they're like, you don't want to know what he did. And Bret Michaels is like, well, I want to know. Tell me what he did. What did this guy do? And he's like, oh, well, it's so bad you don't want to know. And he's like, well, tell me. He's like, okay, yeah, he killed a choir boy. Okay. And so then he's just like, okay, well, that's not great, I guess. And they're basically, yeah. This is like the part where, like I said, they keep showing a close-up of his mouth, of him mouthing the things other people are saying. So that's what I'm saying, like, he's, like, repeating the things that, like, the other, like, death row prisoners are saying or whatever, and it's just, like, that one guy being like, you got a real pretty mouth. And I'm like, all right, let's tone it down here. Then he's like, good night, I'm gonna dream of you. And I was like, come on, let's just chill here. Like that one guy who killed his family is saying that to Bret Michaels. Chapter 6, The Cold Reality. This is where we basically we just see a guard.
The halfway point.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. This is where a guard mistreats Michael, essentially, and they are
Poor baby.
inferring to us that the warden is definitely behind closed doors assaulting other inmates, which is really gross. Of course, like any stereotypical joke about like a prison, being in prison that you can think of is like insinuated in this movie, which is why I'm telling you, I think he kind of is like into it. I think he's interested.
Mm-hmm.
So now we meet Jessica, who is coming to interview Michael for the governor because she's writing a book.
Everyone in this movie is writing books.
Literally.
So many authors.
Okay, then, so, like, before he's going to meet with Jessica, the guards search him to make sure he doesn't have anything on him, and they take his teeth.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what? He was like, my teeth! Give me my teeth back! And I was like, did I mishear that? Because then they give him a cigarette, and I was like, okay, maybe I misheard that. Maybe they took something else. But then when he goes to meet Jessica, she's like, why aren't you looking at me? And he's like, they took my teeth! And I was like, oh, okay. What?
This is where he does his awesome little lisp since he doesn't have his front teeth.
And see, this was not information that I knew, and I was like very confused. Like, what do you need that guy's teeth for?
He told you they took his teeth.
Yeah.
I know, but I thought surely, what a weird thing to put in a movie. I don't know. So yeah, they took his teeth. Jessica explains that she is.
They took his teeth.
Chapter 5, they took my teeth. Jessica is writing a mystery novel, and she says she wants to ask him some questions so that she can write her book. And I was like, this makes no fucking sense. What is she even talking about? Also, she is the aide to the governor, and just in her free time, she's trying to write a book, and the governor's like, hell yeah, just go into the prison and interview these people. I was like, this shit makes no sense. He's like, excuse me. He's like, I'm innocent. And she's like, okay, tell me more about that. And he's just like...
End of story.
Well, yeah, he's just like, I don't know, like, I didn't do it, someone else did it. And she was just like, okay, well... Oh, because she says, like, I'm writing a mystery book, and I want to ask you some questions. And he said, the real mystery is, how did my white ass get the death penalty?
Great question.
Got her. And,
God, this movie sucks so much.
yeah, so this is like all of the conversations with Jessica, it's like very obvious to me that they were not talking to each other because just like...
Nobody in this movie is like in the same scenes together.
No, it just like, it's so disconjointed, and everything that she's saying, again, it sounds like she is improvising her lines and like doing multiple takes, but they're just like, every single time they show her talking, she's saying like a different part of the take. It's just like very weird. And so he's like, he basically postulates that what actually happened was that it was probably Christy's husband that came home and said it saw that they had been together and just like killed her to frame him. And Jessica says that Christy not only didn't have a boyfriend, but she didn't have a husband either, according to the police. And I was like, okay, but he was her boyfriend, so that's factually wrong. What are you guys even talking about? I'm really confused about at this point. And he's like, I don't know, maybe I saw someone else outside, but I don't know. It was Halloween. I was like, what does Halloween have to do with anything? Can you guys stop talking about Halloween?
No.
So he says, like, I was drunk. I don't know, maybe I saw somebody out there. But it was Halloween. You know how it goes. And so she's like, I can tell that me questioning you is upsetting you. So just think about it. And next time I come, let me know if you remember anything. Next time I come to talk about my book, I'll ask you questions. Next time I come
writing. The next time I come to talk to you about the book I'm writing for this book
my
that
governor's
I'm writing.
book. Exactly. Like I'm not like, it is not even a joke. That's like how this conversation goes. And
good writing.
yeah.
You gotta remind himself he's writing a book.
I'm not really sure what happens at this point, but I said maybe the lawyer was blackmailed. So something happened to lead me to believe that his lawyer was being blackmailed. Then Jessica sends Michael a TV for his cell. Okay?
Jealous.
Chapter 7. The Danker execution.
Oh, I thought that was chapter 7. They sent a TV to my cell.
Nope. Chapter 6, they took my teeth. Chapter 7, Jessica sent me a TV. And the maintenance man's like, hey, when you go off and die, can I have your TV? Classy.
Like, now we'd be with that.
They also, like, had to have a maintenance guy come and, like, install the TV. And I was like, didn't you just have to just plug it in 1998 or whatever? Just plug it in, it's fine. Chapter 7 is the Danker execution. If you'll remember, Danker is the guy who's in love with Bret Michaels, but burned his family alive. For some reason, the guard he just like starts roughing Michael up and just like rips his shirt off for no reason. And I was like, oh, I wrote, guard rips Michael's shirt off, LOL, because he's mad that Jessica is writing a book about him. She don't like it. He is jealous. He wants someone to write a book about him, I guess. And this is when they take him into the shower where they fake slam his face into the glass of the camera, and then they cut his hair off.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know,
finally get to see bald ass Bret Michaels.
Yeah, because I guess like we forgot to say he just is wearing like a crazy wig the whole time. That's like,
yeah, his normal hair. If you've seen Bret Michaels, you've seen this wig.
Okay, and I
also gotta say he does not look good bald.
No. And the camera work.
His head's like way too small.
He looks like fucking Gino from 90 Day Fiancé.
Ooh, rough.
Except Gino's got a like. I'll have to send you a picture, Kit, because I know you're probably not watching it. This current season that Gino is on, he takes his hat off and he has the most insane bald, or not bald spot, like hair patch on the back of his head, and it's upsetting.
What?
I'll see if I can find the picture of it and send it to you.
I hate that.
Okay, so then I wrote a bunch of random stuff happens. Maybe he's dreaming.
That's the whole movie.
Like, pretty much. I wrote maybe he's dreaming. I don't know. But then he goes to the infirmary. There's like this random scene where Jessica talks to the governor and just is like, do you miss her? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, I'm sorry. Like, obviously they're talking about Christy, but like, okay. Michael, they send a priest to talk to Michael to like give him his rights, not rights, but like talk to him or whatever.
Or no, wait. Does that happen later?
Maybe?
That happens later, I think.
Yeah. Does this guy not like? I understand you can't see the back of your own head.
Like, oh yeah, I
do
fuck? Not understand. It's like he shaves his head but can't see the back of his head, so he just doesn't bother. It's fucking weird. I understand why he wears a hat 24/7.
Commit to fully bald or commit to the skullet. Like, you can't go halfway.
Yeah. Go for the skullet. Bring it back.
Yeah, the skullet's rock. Yeah. When I get balder, I'm going with the skullet.
That's what I've been doing.
That's gonna rule.
Trying to get that fucking Paul from Blood Incantation thing going.
Exactly.
Our newest kitten, Miso, when we brought him...
Does it have a skullet?
Yeah. Okay, so when we first brought him in, we had switched them over to this like UTI food because Maytel got a UTI. Sorry, Maytel, I'm putting your business on the internet.
Damn.
And all of the cats were allergic to the food, so don't feed your cats Iams. I'm just gonna say that. It was like the only thing that we could find. They all were allergic to it, and so the top of his head and his ears, he like lost his fur, and it was like scabby or whatever. And so we switched them off of the food fast enough so like it didn't spread, but literally the very top of his head was totally bald. But then he is extremely fluffy, so he had a skullet. It started to grow back now, but he looked
cool.
He looked fresh as hell for a while. But yeah, but essentially that picture is what was going on with him, like because his ears were bald too. So poor guy.
I almost say skullets infinitely cooler looking than this weird fucking broccoli hair bullshit going on with the youth today.
Oh, they love the broccoli
Oh,
hair.
God.
Yeah. Okay, so
You got a broccoli head, we should kill you.
Yep.
Just saying.
wow.
Broccoli should stay on broccoli.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a human, you got it. We're putting you down.
Okay, so Michael talks to a priest about his sins and whatnot, and he's just like, man, I'm innocent. And the priest is like, okay, yeah, I've never heard that before. The warden says, he comes in and tells, he's just like trying to embarrass him by saying that they told Jessica the reason that they shaved his head was because he had lice. He's like, now don't you go telling on us that we beat you up and whatnot. And he's like, okay, whatever. Chapter 8. The hellhole.
Oh my god, how are we only halfway through these chapters?
Jessica sees Bret Michaels, and he is like beat up and also is bald, and she's like, oh my god. She's like very taken aback by what's happening here. And they're basically like talking. That guy Danker was executed that morning or whatever, and he says that he's glad that he's dead. He's like, I'm glad that guy's dead. He was fucking gross. Jessica's like, oh my god, how could you say that? What's happened to you here? And like totally freaks out. And I was like, oh, he freaks out. He was like, what do you mean? What's happening to me? Like, you know, like he had to go into solitary and he's freaked the fuck out. It was his first night in death row and he can't handle it, man. He's like freaking out on her. And I was like, wait, so she came back the very next day? That seems weird. Like, you can't just visit a death row inmate like whenever you feel like. Very strange.
I think you can if they're white.
Ah, right. Oh, and the governor, I forgot, said that she was allowed to come for her book.
Yeah, in case people forgot, she's writing a book.
Yeah. So she also says, like, because basically before he was just like, I'm innocent. I think that her husband broke in and killed her, and my fucking lawyer didn't say any of this stuff about how I saw somebody there and about how she had like somebody else. And like he just is shitty and did a bad job and he didn't bring any of the stuff up. So she's like, okay, chill out. You know, he freaks out about being there. And then she's just like basically like, oh, I talked to your lawyer and he said he's sorry for kind of being a shitty lawyer. He's just really busy. And Bret Michaels goes, what could he be busy about? I was like, okay. I mean, he's just doing lawyer stuff or whatever. And she basically says that his lawyer is like working on an appeal. And it's pro bono, so just chill out. You know, that means for free. And he has other paying clients, so he just needs to chill. This is when, out of nowhere, Michael says that the warden helped that officer beat him up or whatever. And she's basically just like, oh my god, how could you treat a prisoner like this? And the warden slaps her. And it's basically just like, shut the fuck up, I can do whatever I want in this prison, because these guys would kill you given the chance, essentially.
Do you think Bret Michaels has ever talked to anyone that was on death row before making this movie?
No.
I don't think so. I think that he thinks about it a lot, though. Like, obviously he has a lot of ideas about prison.
Yeah.
So this is when they do something that literally doesn't make sense. They put him in solitary confinement with Father Lucifer, which is literally the opposite of what solitary confinement is. But, like, they put him in there, and once he figures out who Father Lucifer is, he freaks out. He's like, oh my god, you're the guy! You're the priest that killed that boy! But then the very next scene, it just, like, literally cuts to them like being cool and eating lunch together. And I was like, what the fuck?
Yep.
So this is when the Father Lucifer tells Michael that the governor confessed about being obsessed with this exotic dancer, and then he was like obsessed with this exotic dancer, and because the Father Lucifer, hallowed be thy name, knew this secret, and I guess like I guess I don't understand why the governor confessed to him and then like instead of just killing him like staged this, because he's saying that like he framed me for killing the altar boy so that I would be put in prison. Like, why wouldn't he just tell the secret at that point? Like, it makes no sense.
Yeah, this whole fucking thing was baffling to me.
So, like, he says that basically, like, the police came over, like, hey, this boy's missing. Can we, like, search your church? And the guy's like, yeah, go ahead. They look in the basement, they find the altar boy dead, and then they shoot him, and he went into a coma. And then when he woke up, he had a glass eye. And now he wants revenge. I was like, what? This is going off the rails somehow. Then there's, like, this scene of what we're to think is a nun. She's wearing, like, a nun outfit, but, like, her head and face is completely concealed. And she whispers to some random other inmate to get that he needs to give a message to Father Lucifer. Now there's, like, a music video of Lucifer just, like, being in solitary confinement in black and white with, like, a Bret Michaels song over it. It's like, can't believe I'm in prison for something I didn't do. Like, essentially.
They played that on Rock Love, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, like, you can't not keep using the hits, you know?
It's a banger.
I'm 100% sure in my memory that there was not a single song on Rock of Love that wasn't Every Rose Has Its Thorn.
Oh my god.
There's the theme song, duh.
Oh, yeah.
What's the theme song?
Driven?
Yeah, come on. Let Me Be Your Rock of Love.
Yeah.
Oh, right, yeah. I remember that one.
Let me be your rock of love.
A banger.
Yeah.
Great.
Maybe the only good song Bret Michaels ever wrote.
I was going to say,
100%.
aside from...
Except for this,
I'm in prison, help me, or whatever.
Song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except for chapter 6, prison, my heart is a prison, or something like that. So now Jessica and the lawyer are able to get Michael out of solitary. What is the word for solitary but for tulitary?
So hold on.
Dualitary.
I'm going to
There you
read
go.
you the song titles from the songs he wrote for this movie.
Okay, perfect.
The Last Breath, Party Rock Band,
Hell yeah.
Human Zoo.
Kit,
Zooming.
There you go.
he stole your idea about a human zoo.
I
I
Die
know.
For You,
Bastard.
Times Like These, Little Willie.
Well,
Is I Would Die For You a Prince cover?
I hope not. Let's see, Letters from Death Row. There's a song just called 69.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course there is.
Angst Mary, Steel Bar Blues, Stay With Me, WW Sex. I don't know what that means.
What would sex?
I'm gonna see if I can find that song on YouTube.
I bet you Jailhouse Blues or whatever you said was probably what was playing at that moment. Yeah, so Jessica and the lawyer get Michael out of tulitary confinement, and she basically asks, like, he was like, oh, they put me in there with Father Lucifer, and she's like, oh, that's weird. Did he say anything? Did he tell you anything? Did, like, what happened? He was like, I don't know. And the lawyer says he's got good news and bad news. The good news is that one of Michael Raine's songs was published and people like it. Also, Jessica was able to locate Michael's father, and she personally flew him in from wherever the fuck he lives. And Bret Michaels is just like, huh? And then
That's
the
basically
bad
Bret
news,
Michaels' reaction to everything that happens in this movie.
Yeah.
the bad news is that his his electrocution date was set, and it's 2 years from now.
I thought it
And
was 5 years or something.
I don't know. I wrote set for 2 years, but it could have been.
Well, because at the end of the movie, it cuts till it's like
I'm
4
gonna
years later.
Oh, no. I don't know, because he says, I'm supposed to sit in here and rot for 2 more years. They
maybe.
probably just didn't know what they I bet you they just don't know what they said.
Let's see what the 69 song sounds like. Ooh, starting
Oh,
off good.
Christ.
Oh,
Harmonica.
Oh,
I'm
whoa.
I'm hating this. I am hating
Wait,
this
hold on. Okay,
so hard.
hold on. Let's see. These are the lyrics. All the girls come around to get Dick. They all adore him now because he acts like a prick. Each one tries to
hmm
tie Dick down. Dick
oh,
never falls in love. On the girls start coming round. Dick don't fall for their sweetness. He knows their weakness. Dick knows a secret. Secret is Dick leased himself a nice car. Girls like
yeah,
car. Girls like
yep,
Dick. Dick
yeah,
scores.
sure.
Hell yeah.
It's simple arithmetic, if you ask
This makes
me,
a lot of sense in the context of this movie.
of being in prison. Yeah, I don't know. That didn't sound familiar to me, but who the fuck
Yeah, I don't
knows?
like based on the song titles in this, like I don't know if any of these songs are actually in this movie.
Yeah, who knows? Um, Either way, they set a date for his electrocution, and it's a long time from now, and he is not happy about it. Okay, chapter 9, The Dead Man's Song. This
It's
is when,
69.
Yep.
oh,
That's the Dead Man song.
yeah, that tracks. So this is where Martin Sheen comes in, and it's his dad, and his
Oh my
dad's just
god,
like,
how are we just at Martin?
I'm telling you. That's why, like, at this point, I was like, I forgot he was even supposed to be in here, and he's just like, hey, boy, brought you
It's
some
just like
cigs.
it's just a tight close up of his face.
Yes.
They
Like, he
clearly
shot,
they clearly shot his stuff like at his house.
yeah.
Just like green
Yes, they
screened him
just were
in.
like, "Can you?" Exactly, literally, yeah. And he's just like, "You okay?" And Brett goes, "I've been better."
He'll agree to do this if he could wear that fucking Jesus hat.
He needed to, yeah. And I don't remember what his actual name was, but Brett, blah, 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 Michael says, "I changed my name. It's like Michael Rain now." And the dad's like, "Oh, thank God, because I don't want anyone to know we're related." The dad is basically just like mean to him, and he's like, "Didn't you learn the first time? I don't know how you've been getting all whatever. I'm leaving." And he just like he basically comes and is like says to his son like, "You're a piece of shit. See ya. I don't ever want to see you again." And he just like leaves. And I was like,
Not
and
wrong.
like while he's leaving, Michael is just like, "Dad, Dad," and starts like crying. And I was like, why was this in here? Just so Martin Sheen could be in the movie? Like nothing. No one ever like this scene is nothing.
I don't know. It was Bret Michaels got me. He was very emotional.
Okay. So then the guards come and get him and they're mean to him and Michael basically like gets
Why
into a
is everyone
fight.
mean to me?
Seriously, the guards like start pushing him around and he's like, "I'm not going to take this anymore because my dad hates me." And he like punches them and then they start punching him back. Michael's big mad about it. Then Michael comes over, voiceover, and tells us that he thinks maybe he's falling in love with Jessica. And I was like, what?
Yep. Checks out.
He said she started coming more frequently and he's been like telling her all of his secrets about how his mom died shortly after that he was born because of complications and his dad blames him for that and that's why his dad hates him.
Sure.
Then we get text over that says that it's the day of Father Lucifer's execution.
Can't believe
There,
it.
I know, yeah. So then there's like
It
more
came so
stuff
fast.
with this like proposed nun. Yeah, like why is his execution date like years and years from now, but Father Lucifer's has been like a week. Like obviously it's the governor, but I'm just saying like that makes no sense. Anybody could be like, what's going on here? Okay, so then there's more stuff with this like proposed nun, and it's basically just like talking, like planning out how they're gonna prison break Father Lucifer. Um, there's this like other random inmate that's like
This
talking to
this
Michael.
storyline is just fucking so unneeded.
Yeah, it's like I, I don't know. so he's like talking to some other random inmate that we've never seen before about how somebody is like coming to visit Father Lucifer, and they're like, he never gets guests or whatever, or the other guy, I don't know what the fuck. There's just like this long scene of him like talking to some random guy that shows up for the first time, and then we never see him again. And I was like, what's going on with this? But anyways, Bret Michaels is like sus about the situation. Then it switches over to being at the governor's house, and he's like having dinner with his wife and his son and Jessica, and basically the wife is like, I think you should go see Father Lucifer before he's executed. And Jessica's like, I'm sorry, I just don't think that's a good idea. And then the governor's like, well, she would know. And then the wife is just like, okay, whatever. Like, very obviously jealous of Jessica, because then the governor's like, Jessica, why don't you stay over tonight? And the wife is like pissed off about it. And he's just like, chill the fuck out, woman. Like, pretty much. I don't really understand all this stuff with the governor or whatever. But meanwhile,
he's had a rough life.
Oh, I'm sure. And Jessica's like, I didn't mean to start anything. I'm gonna go to my apartment and collect my things, and then I'll be back. See you later. Okay. So then, they take Lucifer out of his cell, and they start to like take him, do the walk, as they say, to the electric chair. And he goes up to Michael, and he basically is just like, put your cigarette in my mouth and say goodbye. And I was like, ew, what? So he does that. Like, this is the thing that I'm confused about too, because like they have somehow set up Michael to like aid in Lucifer's escape from prison, but we don't ever see anybody talk to him about it. So the fact that he just like knows what to do is just like so strange to me. He gives him the cigarette, it's lit. And when they put Lucifer in his like holding cell before taking him to the electric chair, he sets the mattress on fire with the cigarette. And there's like all this smoke, the alarms are going off, the guards are freaking the fuck out or whatever. And once they get the fire out, they go to the cell and Lucifer's gone. And they want me to believe that he, I guess, shimmied out through like a little tiny vent. And I was like, there's no way a person is fitting through that vent. But
he's like Toombs in X-Files.
No, thank you.
The guy that could just like dislocate his bones and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to forget that guy existed.
I feel like it's anytime that comes up.
You can never forget Victor Toombs.
I've talked about it, but like I read the fucking novel version of that, and it freaked me out as like a fucking 12-year-old or whatever.
Yeah, he's and
terrific.
Then like I think that they did it really well in the show too, because like I can vividly see him just like standing there with his fucking weird eyes being like, hello, I hate it. Blech. Okay, yeah, I don't know. Well, sure, he tombs his way out through that vent, but they seem to think that like
tombs on him.
Yeah, they seem to think that like, oh yeah, he just went right through that vent, and I'm like, guys, I'm so sorry, but there's no way you're convincing me of that. We see Lucifer escape. He gets into the getaway car. We find out that the proposed nun has killed the maintenance guy that basically like loosened the vent for him, and then he just like shoots the nun shoots Lucifer, and Lucifer's dead. I was like, what? Okay. Now there's a news report. There's a news report. Michael's watching his TV that Jessica sent for him. And there's a news report about how the governor's son was thrown out of his window and is now in a coma. Okay. Then I got confused because I thought that they said that the governor was dead because there was a suicide note. But like, I think that they meant Lucifer. I was real shocked and surprised when the governor showed back up. I'll tell you that, because I wrote governor is dead. It was. I think it was Lucifer. Lucifer wrote a note that basically was just like, hey, nobody is responsible for what I did, except Michael Rain didn't do the murder, so let him out of prison. I'm just like wanting to be a good guy and just like making sure that you guys know he's innocent or whatever. I was like, what? Michael's lawyer sends Michael photos of him and Christy together and basically is like, hey, like I was a client of Christie's, And she was talking about how there was this other really rich and powerful client she had. They kept saying that the client was jealous of her, but like that's not the situation. They're trying to say that he was like obsessed with her, and so he was like not wanting her to have other clients, right? But they kept saying he was jealous of her, and I was like, why is he jealous of her? Like, what do you mean? They meant like possessive over her, but they were not using the right term, and they say it multiple times, and I was like, guys, like nobody told you that this is like not the correct verbiage, whatever. So, Oh, because he reveals to Michael that the client that was like being possessive over her was actually the governor, and that and I like, again, I don't really understand. Like, I guess it would be a scandal. I don't know. The governor basically told the lawyer, like, I have pictures of you and Christy together, and unless you want me to like release them to the public, you're gonna become Michael's lawyer and make sure that he gets the death penalty. And I'm like, why does the lawyer care that much? Like, they never mention that he has a family, or like,
It's all
if he's a
so
lawyer,
like needlessly complicated.
yeah, because I'm like, oh, like he's gonna lose his job because there's a picture of him with like an exotic dancer. Okay, like what?
What a fucking quaint time to be in politics. That was.
I know, actually, honestly. And then this was so, again, just way out of left field. Jessica goes back to her apartment to like collect her things, which is something she said she was doing like half an hour ago in the movie. And she just is like all of a sudden so inconsolable. She's like crying to herself. She's talking to a picture of like the governor and the governor and the family and whatever. And she like rips a picture of just the governor out and is like rubbing it on her leg. And she's like, I love you so much. I can give you another child. You know that. And I was like, so she's obsessed with the governor now? Okay. Great. And then the lawyer calls and basically is just like, hey, by the way, I told Michael about the blackmail and shit, and there's like all of this other stuff going on, so like you need to call me. And at this point I wrote, I'm confused. Like, because Jessica, then they're like, oh, the mayor's son, or the governor's son woke up from the coma, he's fine. And because then Jessica goes to see Michael, and the guard says to Michael, hey, Jessica's here. And he goes, who? Like, all of a sudden he doesn't remember who Jessica is, even though he just told us that he was in love with her. I was like, what is happening here? So
it's called filmmaking.
Michael,
the art of cinema.
Yeah, right. Michael tells Jessica that the governor's son is fine and alive, and she basically is just like, no, he's dead. And Michael's like, no, I just saw on that TV you gave me that he's alive and he's fine. And now Jessica's like freaking out and basically like was like, I know that the lawyer sent you a letter to confess and everything. I want you to tell me everything that's going on. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And she's like, yeah, basically she kind of like in a roundabout way slips and says that like the governor is behind everything that happened. She's like, the governor didn't kill Christy. The governor didn't kill that boy. And he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? All right, here we go. Chapter 11.
Oh, God.
Bankruptcy.
Bankruptcy. The famous final scene. While Julie is there freaking out to Michael, the governor comes and kicks her out. He is confusingly blaming Michael for everything that happened and is like, why did you do this? How can you do this? And I was like, first of all, he didn't do anything. What are you talking about? Then they like fake us out by the governor has a gun and like shoots, but then it like cuts to like another scene and then it comes back and Michael's like laying on the floor or whatever. So like he didn't shoot him. He's fine. It cuts to like the governor's wife at the hospital with the son. And basically they're just like, your son's going to be fine. And she's like, okay, thanks. Michael basically tells the governor that Lucifer knew that the governor did everything, kill the choir boy, kill Christy, and like set everybody else up for all of this shit. And again, the governor says that he was jealous of Christy, and I was like, no, incorrect, but fine. Michael says that he was like, I suspect that Jessica wasn't actually writing a book this entire time, and she just came here to figure out what I knew about you. And the governor's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't know Jessica was even coming to visit you until just now. This is when they revealed the big twist to us that everything was Jessica. Jessica was the nun. Jessica threw the governor's son out a window. Jessica killed an altar boy. Jessica killed Christy.
She was Bret Michaels.
She was Bret Michaels this whole time. So they're both like freaking out because they're like, oh my God, she orchestrated this whole thing because she's in love with the governor. And then the governor's like, where's Jessica? Even though she literally just said that she was going to the hospital to see his son. So they're like freaking out about that because, you know, like she's going to kill him to like finish the job or whatever. So she goes to the hospital and is like, oh, governor's wife, why don't you go get a coffee or whatever? I'll take care of him. Then she literally is like trying to strangle him, and the police come in and arrest Jessica. Then they just kind of like cut to Michael standing on the stairs outside the prison, like putting his fingers in the air, and it's like bam, down, down, every rose. Like he's just at the end of the movie.
Dick.
Yeah, he's being released from prison. But it's literally like a second of footage of him being released from prison when it immediately goes to 4 years later. And the way that this is shot is like, it seems as if Michael is visiting Jessica in jail and he's telling her that he is writing a book about all of the stuff that happened. And he's like, I can't, like, how does it feel being in jail knowing that you did this, you killed Christy, you did all this stuff, what is it like, how are you liking prison? And then it shows the guards, and the guards are like, what the fuck is he talking about? Who is he talking to? And, like, the thing that they show us is that he's literally, like, standing there just reading the script of the book.
It's
like,
such a fucking
movie.
baffling ending.
Because, like, the thing is that I guess he's saying that, I don't know if they're trying to say that Jessica wrote the book or he wrote the book about what really happened.
I think he wrote this story and is like, because, like, my understanding is the end is he's being executed.
He's actually in
and
prison.
Like, yeah, like yes. And that's the whole thing about, like, a good writer will make you believe blah, blah, blah. A great writer will do, you know, whatever the fuck he says at the beginning. And so, like, I think the assumption is that, like, everything you just watched was, like, made up by him in this fucking book he's writing.
Right. So he is in prison, right? The entire thing was him reading the script of the book of this story that he made up. He's still being executed. And then it shows us the title of the movie, which is, like, Death Letters from Prison or whatever the fuck.
Death Letters from Prison.
Yeah. Then, Michael laughs maniacally. It shows a close-up of one drop of tear coming out of his eye. Then the entire beginning of the movie, which was like the guy saying, priest is here to give you your rights, I'm sorry, and then everything was shaky and it was black and white or whatever. And then Michael says to us again, a good writer can make the mind imagine, a great writer can make the mind believe. Like,
whoa.
Like, he thinks that he tricked us into thinking that all of the things that happened in the movie were real. And he's revealing to us that he just tricked us because he's a great writer.
He fucking got my ass.
Yep.
Yeah. I was like...
I was fooled. Bamboozled.
Yeah. Okay, so this brings me back to, like, 2 hours ago when I said I think I understand. I think that the reason they kept showing him mouthing what other people were saying throughout the movie is because they were trying to relay to us that he was just reading everything other people, like, he was reading the whole thing to us. So, like, they kept showing him, it was him all along saying all this stuff. And that's why they were doing it, because he was telling us the story. However... It doesn't really make a lot of sense.
All makes sense to me. I've never watched a movie
Yes.
that made like more sense than this one.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's bad. Everybody should go watch it immediately. That's my
Yeah, it
take.
was
Finish
really. This might
finish your
be.
Brett Michaels lore.
Yeah, this might be the
Essential.
first time that we all rated the movie literally the same.
It happens every once in a while. Usually it's something like as bad as this.
Oh, here's the tagline. Here's the tagline. There is no lie more terrifying than the truth.
Mine was better.
Sure.
Um, yeah, it was bad. Brett Michaels, make more movies. I don't know. The only news we're talking about was David Lynch died like fucking 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Real bummer. Uh, go sign up for the Criterion Channel app. You can watch like a
Yeah.
bunch of his movies on there. All right, Katie, what have you watched in the last like month?
Hmm. Not a ton. I've been watching like documentaries again. I did finally watch Immaculate. It was okay. I think it seemed really like I will say I liked the ending, but like the rest of the movie, I just was kind of like I feel like it wasn't anything like super new. Like I think that I was like expecting more because wasn't this the one where that Sydney Sweeney was like obsessed with it, was like this movie must be made at all costs. And
I
I was
think she
like,
like made some movie to like be able to make that one or something like that.
Yeah, because it was like her friend's script that she's been sitting on for forever.
okay. Yeah, I thought it was like fine. I did like the ending though, like I said. Then I watched this what turned out to be a Lifetime movie called The Boy in the Walls, and it was not good. Then I watched this movie, I think that it was Korean, and it was called Sleep, and it was like I don't know, really good premise about like this woman who's like pregnant and her husband is like trying to be an actor and he has like trouble sleeping because of it and he has like sleep problems and then it starts like manifesting as like spooky things. But I can't really say that I recommend it. I thought the ending was super weak. And like I said, just a bunch of documentaries. I don't think anything else of note.
All right, what about you, Kit?
I went and saw One of Them Days, and I think that's the only thing that I've watched that's new or noteworthy.
Don't even know what that is.
It's pretty good. It's I've completely blanked on her name. Kiki Palmer and SZA.
Okay, yeah. I don't.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Pretty funny little comedy movie. Nothing amazing, but worth watching. And then other than that, I've just been balls deep in a Vanderpump Rules rewatch.
How you like fucking old Tom Sandoval's fucking horrible gameplay on the Traders this season?
Oh my god. He's the best part because it's
Just
incredible.
the
Like
dumbest
his
person.
reactions to things, how fucking wrong he is at every turn.
So good. All right, let's see. I watched Side Roads, which is Vinegar Syndrome's like released it, and it was like that thing they do around like halfway to the Black. I think it was like actually an April Fool's sale, like whatever they do their halfway to Black Friday thing, where it's like you kind of buy something you don't know what you're gonna get, and it was just like,
Oh yeah, it's like the mystery
yeah.
thing.
And it's a movie that like I guess like the movie was whatever. I don't know. It was fine. It was like a fucking 2-hour SOV drama, so it was like kind of hard to watch, but kind of interesting. But it was like I guess somebody was helping like clean out the director's house and found these like film canisters to this, and he was just like, that never got released, just throw them away. And I guess this guy was just like contacted Vinegar Syndrome and was just like, hey, like I don't know if you're interested, like I don't know what these are, but do you want to take a look at them? And Vinegar Syndrome got them and was like, oh yeah, we want to release this. And the guy was just like, yeah, go for it. And released it like that. And it's the one that came with like the blank slipcover and like the markers, so you could make your own slipcover for it.
Oh.
And I don't know, it's interesting. It's like a, weird little unreleased oddity thing.
Yeah. Always nice to have those,
Yeah. I watched 1985's Blood Tracks, which I have zero recollection of at this point. Oh, yeah, that's right. This was it's like a heavy metal horror movie. It was fine. I think I gave it like 3 stars. I watched their release of The Keep as well, which is a banger.
Hell yeah. So good.
And I watched the release of Sliver, which is, I forgot how fucking insane that movie is. And then I've just been like I think the day after the inauguration, I was like, I am escaping reality, and I started watching all the Tom Green Show episodes and specials and stuff. So I specifically have been watching like a bunch of the pre-MTV Tom Green Show stuff, and it rocks. It surprisingly holds up. There was a special he did in 2000. It was just the Tom Green Show Monica Lewinsky special that like I was like, oh man, I don't know how it's gonna be. And it's like, it was so fucking nice and refreshing to watch, because it was like peak every talk show was just nothing but like Monica Lewinsky blowjob jokes, and the entire special was just her and Tom Green just like running around Ottawa doing weird shit. And like anytime paparazzi would get around, he would be like, hey, you guys need to like get the fuck out of here. Or like if they were doing like interviews for like why they were filming, and they would start like prying into shit, and he would just like use his weirdness to like distract and like deflect away from that. And was like, it's like he's like very sort of like sweet and like protective of her, and it was like extremely like nice to see it like in the middle of like everything else going on, and then like just especially that time period. So that was fun. And then I've been like I watched some real dog shit movies Tom Green was in. Including Shred and Revenge of the Boarding School Dropouts, which were
sounds incredible.
2 snowboard movies with Tom Green and Dave England from Jackass that were fucking bad. I watched.
That sounds even better than I imagined.
I mean, like they're basically what you would expect from like a 2008 fucking snowboarding, like,
right. Yeah, I know exactly what that movie is before you even explain it.
I watched Superstar, the SNL movie, for the first time because he was in it, and that movie is terrible.
Yeah.
I watched.
It's so funny to me that you've just watched it for the first time.
It's like, I mean, I never cared about that character on SNL in general, but man, that movie is bad. I watched 2005's Bob the Butler, which I expected to be unwatchable, and it was actually kind of charming and not the worst. It's like sort of a kid's movie. Like Tom Green is very like subdued in it, and I think it could have like used a little bit of his like weirdness, but like surprisingly not terrible. I also watched Road Trip, which is surprisingly very terrible.
Surprisingly,
I had not seen Road Trip probably since it came out, and I forgot how fucking shitty that movie is.
Yeah.
And I watched Stealing Harvard, which was fine, but
banger.
The
ultimate film.
It came out maybe like a week ago. This is the Tom Green documentary on Prime. Fucking rocks. Highly recommend. Even if you're not like super into Tom Green, pretty fucking fascinating documentary. That he like directed about his own career, and it's pretty interesting. Cause there's even shit where like, Steve-O and like Eric Andre and all these people are just like, no, like we don't have careers if Tom Green had like not been doing what he was doing. So it's pretty good. I watched a movie called Interviewing Monsters and Bigfoot. That was real bad. That Tom Green was in. And I think the last thing is I watched Charlie's Angels for the first time, and it's fine. I mean, it's like whatever.
Like the Cameron Diaz
Yeah,
one?
because Tom Green was in it. That's where like him and
duh.
Drew Barrymore like met and got married at
Yeah,
whatever
yeah,
point.
yeah. That's hilarious.
Like it's not like terrible. It's just I don't know. I feel like if maybe I saw it in 2000, I would maybe have maybe some affection for it. But watching it now, it's like yeah, it's whatever.
Yeah.
All right. Shout outs, Katie.
My shout out is the new Deaf Heaven single, Magnolia.
Oh yeah.
Rips.
Slaps.
I'm interested to
bop.
see if they ever go back to that like shoegaze shit from whatever that Infinite album was.
I hope not.
Me too.
I liked it.
I mean, it's
but
fine, but I don't know.
I'm not like mad that it's not
Yeah.
the next, like I'm fine with it either way, but
All right. What about you, Kit?
Negative shout out. Dude from Terrifier, the director,
Oh, yeah.
sucking, being a fucking coward.
Fuck all those movies.
Positive shout out. The dude who played Art the Clown actually not being a coward and standing up
yeah,
for queer people.
it seems like
So good on him.
him and then whoever like the actresses from those movies have been like kind of outspoken about like queer and trans stuff, and then for some reason the director felt like he needed to make the most centrist fucking like, dumbass opinion post about
fucking
it. Like,
loser.
come on. Read the room.
yeah, like I have never seen any of those movies. Like I don't really plan to, but like especially for someone to come out and make like a statement like that when people are like on the right side of it seems so weird to me.
I'm sure like I would guarantee that there was just pushback from fucking dipshit like MAGA horror people.
Yeah.
From them making posts that he felt
Republicans still go see my movies, please.
Yeah. It's like when like fucking the band Norma Jean had to make a statement in like 2017 that was just like, oh, you know, like we don't care who comes to see our shows, like fucking communist or people in a MAGA hat, come see us. It's like, shut up.
Just fuck off.
Go away.
Ew. Yikes.
I'm gonna do an anti-shout out to Elon Musk. Somebody kill Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Well,
Fucking real tired of like, I love Twitter so I could stop seeing anything about this fucking dipshit, and now it's just all like he's just the government.
He's everywhere,
and I hate it.
Yeah.
Very tired of it. Positive shout out. Behind the Bastards, 6-part series on Oprah Winfrey.
oh.
Damn.
Oprah, real bad, turns out.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Thanks for bringing Dr. Oz and Dr. Phil to the limelight. Also, Chaperone. Talking about trans people.
Chapel rules.
Yeah, killing it. All right. We have talked about next week, but I'm gonna say we should do Rumpelstiltskin.
Hell yeah.
So that forced me to actually sit down and watch that Blu-ray. But we'll see. We'll fucking figure out our schedules. Next time, all three of us, for sure, we'll do Rumpelstiltskin. Alright. I don't know. Support us on Patreon. Whatever Katie said.
Please,
just don't
please.
do it through Apple, I guess.
Yeah. Don't do it. Yeah.
Don't do anything through Apple.
Yeah, fair.
Yeah, don't.
Just
Do whatever you can to steal money from Apple.
I'm gonna set up a P.O. box and just send us a check.
Yeah.
Send your endorsed check to.
Yeah, the fucking return envelope check. Yeah, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/IPSufferPodcast. I don't know what bonus episodes will be this month. I'm working on a mini side thing that'll be on the Patreon eventually, where I'm gonna watch a bunch of bad movies, and I don't want to. I'm fucking regretting it.
Yeah. You did it to yourself. I don't feel bad
yeah,
for
I'll
you.
at least bring a kit for one of them.
Woof.
It's gonna be a bad time.
Yep. I don't know. I'll be interested to talk about that movie because I think of it sort of fondly, even though it sucks. But it's like a swing, so it'll be interesting. Kit and I, we're gonna talk about all the Ashley Hayes Wright movies in a row.
Ugh.
Talk about Monster B in DC soon.
Hell.
there was a thing going around on like Blue Sky that was like, I think Letterboxd was having people do it. It was like one of those prompts. It was like, go to your watch list and just do like shuffle, and like the top 4 that pop up will be like your 2025 or like whatever. And I was so glad there wasn't an Ashley Hayes Wright movie on it. You can leave us a rating and review on iTunes and Spotify and all that shit. You can follow us on Instagram at I Hope You Suffer Podcast. You can follow Kit at Hidden Kitstery and Kitchification of Blood. You can follow Katie at Werewolfface and join Katie's Patreon at patreon.com/werewolfface. You can listen to my other podcast, AK Movie Club. Everybody go listen to Poison and go watch Rock of Love. Brett Michaels needs our support now more than ever.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
Bring back Rock of Love. It's time.
I'm saying.
I don't even
like the Golden Bachelor, where it's like the old guy dating. It's time.
Like, I've thought about, like, I don't know why they couldn't reboot that at this point. Like, that whole fucking Flavor of Love, Rock of Love, like, whatever. But I'm also, like, I don't even know who I would cast as, like, the person at this point, because I have, like, zero fucking connection to young people pop culture. Like, I don't know, Ed Sheeran. Ed Sheeran's Rock of Love.
I refuse to look at his fucking awful tattoos.
Yeah, but what if, like,
every week?
what if instead of, like, Big John, it's Danny Filth? Because they did a song together.
All right, I'm back in.
Just Ed Sheeran and then just fucking Danny Filth screeching and fucking corpse paint in the background. Danny Filth of Love. Let's go. Make that.
I'd watch that.
The
intro song's Her Ghost in the Fog.
Just Rock of Love, but it's some fucking black metal nerd the entire time, and none of the women are interested. I'd watch that. Let's go. VH1, get at us. All right. I don't know. Maybe Rumpelstiltskin next week. If not, it'll be something else. Surprise. Something stupid. All right. I hope you never have to write a script on death row, but why?
Fair.